Hi. Today we will be discussing the first of two Vartikas to Sutra number 61127 in Ashtadhyayi at 91 in Siddhanta Comedy. Iko savarne shakal yasya rasvascha. Iko savarne shakal yasya rasvascha. As you may recall, given the last two videos we've done on this sutra, the key point is asavarne achipare padantat ekaha prakritya shakalyasya mate rasvahacha. So when a non-savarna vowel follows a word final ik, iurlik, according to Shakalya's belief, opinion, everything will stay prakritya, the same as it is. And if it's dirgha, it will be replaced by hrasva. Now, key thing to recall here is that this sutra is an exception to iko yanachi, achipare, ikahastane yansyat. In place of iuruluk, when a vowel follows ya varala comes, ikoyanachi, which is the overarching rule for this situation. So today, the sutra we've been discussing recently, Iko savarne shakal yasya rasvascha, is an exception which makes that sandhi optional, and includes the change of a dirgha to a hrasva vowel. And we saw that in the example we gave of chakri atra. It can either stay the same or it can be chakriatra, which is the outcome of ikoyanachi. So we're going to be discussing the first of two Vartikas pertaining to that sutra. So the first Vartika is nasamase, not in a compound, nasamase. So the full sutra would be asavarne achipare padantat ekaha prakritya shakalyasya mate hrasvaha cha na. Not all of that. So regardless of a Shakalya's opinion, when a word final ik is followed by a non-savarna ach, it will not remain as it is, nor will it be changed. A dirgha will not become hrasva. So an example for that is the following: vapi ashvaha. So if iko savarne shakalyasya hrasvascha does not pertain to this sandhi, that means there's only one option, which is ikoyanachi. So vapi ashvaha, vapyashvaha. Well, what's the difference between chakri atra, which was an option, chakri atra, also a dirgha e followed by hrasva a, chakri atra, was our example for iko savarne shakal yasya rasvascha. Why is that? Why is one of these optional and the other one not? Well, I like to keep reminding anyone who thinks I think otherwise, I am absolutely a student of the grammar. So one of the big fun things about doing this is I learn something about every sutra that we encounter. And that's certainly the case with this sutra, because what I've just said Nusamase, not in the case of a sandhi, with the example of vapi ashvaha, is all that Prabhakar Shastri shared with me, which is totally understandable, all things considered. But delving into it a little bit more deeply this time around, it turns out that Bhattorji Dikshita had a qualification for this Vartaka, which is this only applies in Nitya Samasa. This only applies in Nitya Samasya, meaning obligatory compounds. So that suggests that this restriction on ekosavarne shakalyasya hrasvascha only applies to obligatory compounds. So that leads us to imagine that vapi ashvaha is an obligatory compound, and therefore ekosavarne shakalyasya hrasvascha does not apply. So the only option is ekoyanachi, namely vapyashvaha. Well, that awakened my curiosity a little bit further, because I didn't really know what to make of this idea of Nitya Samasa. And it turns out it's a little bit specialized, but it's interesting to us, at least to me, for a number of reasons. This particularly refers to samasas that are the result of a particular sutra, which is 2.2.18. I didn't put down what it is in Siddhanta Kaumudi, I'm sorry. 2.2.18, that is ku gati pradayaha. Ku gati pradayaha. Now, you may notice I pronounce it in a particular way because it's a reflection of what it says. Ku gati pradayaha. It's, I guess you could say, a dvandva. So the meaning of this sutra is ku, and those called gati, and those listed by pradayaha, must form a tatpurusha compound with the syntactically related words. So when there is this possibility of a compound, ku, those called gati, and those listed in pradayaha must form a particular kind of compound, although it's very varied in itself, tatpurusha compound with syntactically related words. So one little part of this is, we've talked recently about ku in different contexts, especially the ku varga kakagagaga. This is not ku varga, this is a word, ku, which means bad, basically, bad thing, bad. And then those called gati and those listed by pradayaha. Well, this definitely was a source of some delight because you may recall back in the day, before we started our Sandhi Sutras, we learned that prakrishvarani pataha chadayosatve pradayaha upasargah kriya yoge gatischa. So we had two sutras specifically describing what is pradayaha, and we actually listed all of the individual components of pradayaha at that time. And also we mentioned what the sutra that gives us gati and why. Gatihi and gatihi gatischa. So these are... we discussed them in sutra number 59, in video number 59 and video number 61. And this is one of the kinds of things that delights me, because it happens not infrequently in my experience of the grammar, given that we are learning it essentially in sequence, that we may come across a number of rules or terms or so on that just like, okay, that's interesting. And then boom, a few hundred sutras or 1,000 sutras possibly later, all of a sudden that's exactly what we need to know. And in this case, ku gati pradayaha are the kinds of are the terms that are related to being in a nitya samasa, an always compound. And that always compound is what is relevant to our Vartika of today, nasamase. So now we know, or at least we have a reasonable understanding of why when we have chakri atra, which has chakri ends in a ik, which is a dirgha I, and atra begins with a hrasva a. We have two options, chakri atra staying as it is, and chakri atra, while the superficially identical situation, which is vapi ashvaha, has no option. It can only be vapyashvaha on account of it's a nitya samasa, and in that case, nasamase applies to eko savarne shakalyasya rasvascha. Thanks.